Ladies and gentlemen, it's Nerdorama, the Knights of the Round Table on a Wednesday. No, I'm not Tuala Sharp, but I am Mo Kelly sitting in for Tuala Sharp as he will eventually get here. The crew is here, or most of the crew is here. Let's say hello to Tom is Talking Cunningham.
Hello, everybody.
Did you just go like Lionel Richie on me just a little bit?
I did. Is it me you're looking for? Or?
It depends on what you have to say about Hawkeye, which we'll be starting off with. And also Ryan Twitchmaster McBain.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody.
You're not nasty anymore?
I'm always nasty.
Okay.
I think I got my swagger back.
I don't know why I even asked for that. Anthony from Two Cubicles Down. How you doing this evening, my brother?
What the hell? Like, what am I supposed to do on that one?
You have no chance, bro.
Yeah, I have no chance on that one.
Anthony, you're going to have to get your own sound effects. We're going to get you up to date. But we have to start off with Hawkeye. We will then make our way over to Matrix Resurrections and anything else which may come into the fold. We're waiting on Dr. Liz and Tuala. They will be joining us shortly. But let me start with this. I texted the group in our personal chat last night around 11:50. I think Ryan did at the same time saying, hey, the episode's up. We're talking about Hawkeye, the sixth and final episode of the series. And then Ryan and I started watching simultaneously. We started texting back and forth. It started off wonderfully. Yes, there are going to be spoilers. First spoiler, Kingpin. They gave it to us right at the top, right at the beginning. They did not make us wait at all, and I appreciated that. I appreciated how he walked out in the customary white suit with the black shirt looking like Michael Jackson from Thriller. All of that. It was Kingpin through and through, and they started tying together these threads, and I said, oh shit, it's going to be a great episode. They're giving it to us. They are not making us wait. They are fan servicing, which I am a high on. And then it took a left. I mean, a big left. And all of a sudden, it sort of thought that it was going to be a comedy review. We saw Kingpin with a Hawaiian shirt on, and I don't give a damn that that's somehow comic accurate. It was silly given the backdrop of what we've known Kingpin, Vincent D'Onofrio Kingpin to be. It was a serious character. It was a dark, brooding character. Instead, he was thrown into this matrix, no pun intended, of all these jokes and slapstick comedy throughout the episode, and I was really put off. But let me just say like this. I'm going to take a step back because I know Ryan Twitchmaster McBain can say it better than me and speak on my behalf. Ryan, what was wrong with this episode?
Well, for me, for the whole series in general, each episode got better and better and better to the point where this season finale had my mouth salivating. There was so many threads that were coming together, and they just turned it into, as you said, a slapstick comedy. I don't understand. Like, okay, you go from Yelena on the roof kicking ass because she's a widow, a badass black widow. You even got Clint saying they sent a widow after me. So it's been set. It's been etched in stone. She's a badass. You better watch your ass. And then you go from that to where the episode fell off for me completely, when Kate Bishop and Yelena are in the elevator, and it turns into a BFF like slapstick comedy routine. She's the lady. Kate's the woman who is trying to stop you from killing the person you thought killed your sister. She gets slapped by her and she goes, oh, what was that? What are you doing? You're a widow.
That was
Beats
a not
her
good
ass.
accent, though.
Well, neither
Stop
was
it,
her
man.
accent. It wasn't good either. So
That's true.
to be fair, go ahead, Tom.
Okay, let me just say this. I was with this show for most of the episode. Where it went off the rails for me were two things. When they stepped up the LARPers to be like basically agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. kind of.
Well, one was an actual cop, if I'm not mistaken.
Well,
I think
firefighters,
maybe
too.
more than one of them might have been cop-ish.
All of- all
Because
of
the sister girl and
Yes.
the redheaded woman were like definitely like force adjacent, and then the black dude, police force adjacent. Then the black dude was the one who actually stole the Ronin costume, and then the fat dude, he was like pretty much pure comic relief. But I'm going to push back on the notion of the widows not being humorous. if we go back to the Black Widow movie, where there was a lot more at stake in terms of Yelena being hunted by literally a mind-controlled legion of widows, and Natasha trying to free both her sister and the other widows, they made plenty of time for jokes. The Red Guardian character was a complete comic relief person. There wasn't so much with Rachel Weisz, but certainly Red Guardian was all comedy all the time. And then even Yelena, she did the whole thing in the little, I guess, Russian bodega, whatever, with the whole posing and the flipping hair thing. Mm-hmm. So Yelena as a character clearly has that in her spirit when she's not on mission. Now, to your point, hold on.
Yeah,
okay.
Time and place.
She was trying to get to Clint, and she did not consider Kate a real threat. If Kate had been a real widow, and she did slap her, but she was toying with her. She literally said from the first time they met, if I had wanted to kill you, I would have killed you.
Okay, I
She
gotta jump in there.
warned her in the apartment. She said, like, look, you better stay out of this. You're not about this life.
Let me throw this to Anthony. Anthony, I thought there was a tonal issue here where you had the seriousness of the event and the seriousness of the series through episode 5. They were building, I thought, to a more serious conclusion. The swordsman or whatever, it portended that it was a serious character and would have implications moving forward. And then it seemed like, no, none of that mattered. None of that was paid off. None of the characters actually came to some sort of resolution. And it seemed like from a tonal standpoint, it was completely off. What was your read?
With Jack and being the swordsman, we got the sell that, you know, he's the big bad guy in that household. And that the cops, when they're arresting him, the big farce was, you know, they weren't real cops. They're probably Kingpin's henchmen, just, you know, playing a part. But with the whole reveal at the end that he was actually arrested, and then he's at the freaking Christmas party with a sword, his freaking sword and scabbard just hanging out like it's nobody's business. Like, what the fuck is that? That's where shit went off the rails for me. Was when that. And then we catch him when he's swashbuckling at the end, when you got the LARPers are directing people how to get out of the building, and he's behind there having a sword fight with the tracksuit mafia. I just lost it. I could not. I couldn't take it serious anymore.
And we're the cops. Point. You're in New York.
Yeah, you're in New York.
All this shit's going down, and no police officer
in Midtown.
And not only that, he at the end he's like, "Oh, I think I got blood on my shirt." Fucker, you have a sword. Like, you're stabbing and slashing these people, and you think you're not gonna get blood anywhere? Like,
Dr. Liz, what say you about the final episode of Hawkeye?
Okay, so the extra scenes at the end of Black Widow, so there's extra scenes that are now on the Disney Plus app, goes to solidify Tom's point at the comedy that is kind of and overall emotion. So even when she's swayed not to kill him, I understand that that's disappointing, but that also comes through if you watch the extra scenes that they cut from the Black Widow movie.
Wait. You said cut from the movie? So in other words, I'm now responsible for scenes that were cut from the movie. I can't look at the movie for what it was.
I'm sorry, but when does Marvel not have extra scenes that are put on the cutting floor that they do not add to the movie after?
If it's not added to the movie, it's not canon.
Thank you.
That is a flat out ridiculousness. That's not true.
Thank you.
That's your business.
That is not true. Because that has happened in the past.
That's your business.
We have had many a day where we have talked about extra scenes that have been put on the cutting block that we should have all seen that we can understand.
Those are Marvel one shots. That's different.
Okay.
If that's the case, then Fury revealed the mutants all the way back in Iron Man 1.
There you
with
go.
a deleted scene.
And Spider-Man.
If that's the case, if deleted scenes are technically canon, as you're saying, that would mean that mutants have been in this universe since all the way back in Iron Man 1.
Circle gets the square.
Yep.
Okay, wait. Hold on. Let's focus on a couple before we unmercifully just trash this, because I don't understand. There were 100 tracksuit mafia guys, and the swordsman must have killed, because those were like abdominal slashes. Those were
Right.
not minor
Killed
injuries.
nobody because it was a joke. It was all fun and games. Nobody died.
There were 100 of those mafia dudes in Lincoln Square or wherever Lincoln, whatever the
It
thing
was like playing a video game.
They
just
just
kept
kept coming. But I will say this: when she shot Kingpin with that arrow and it didn't do any damage, I don't know if you guys saw in the chat. That was my first oh shit moment. I was like, "This is Kingpin. This is for real Kingpin, because he could
Superman
survive
powered.
some shit
Yes.
like this."
Mhm.
And then when he picked her ass up and threw her and grabbed the arrows as he threw her, I was like, oh shit, part 2. That whole sequence of him and Kate was full of oh shit moments. And
Yes.
then when Echo kills, he was
Kaz.
my Iron Fist stand-in. Him. When Echo kills him, I was like, oh shit again. And then
Hey, Tom,
things
why,
kind of
why,
went off the rails.
why was
Okay,
Echo
so wait a
killing the
second.
number 2 an oh shit moment for you?
Because I wasn't sure if it was going to be. I wasn't sure if they were going to wrap him up like that, or if they were going to save that resolution for her series. I didn't know if they were going to make kind of like her pursuit of Kingpin, whatever, kind of like the underlying thread of her series. And of course, the biggest disappointing moment for me, other than Clint not dying and Finn not getting shot in the face with a Pym arrow, was that they pretended like, and here's the biggest spoiler of the show, they pretended like Kingpin was shot. And
Thank
there's
you.
No
See, I
fucking
thought
way.
It's straight
that's
from the
why
comic.
I
That's
was
straight from the comic.
concerned because I was like, wait
Didn't
a
happen
second.
on screen.
Yeah.
No,
Please
they
tell
completely
me
Squid
that you
Gamed
didn't
us.
kill
It was
him.
exactly the Squid Game shit.
Okay.
And they
It-
even panned up in the exact same way. It was like, this is bullshit.
That scene is taken exactly from the comic. We all know he ain't dead.
But this
fact.
is my point. If you aren't a person who appreciated the comics, then her gun was a foot and a half away from his face. And even as dense as his muscle or whatever the fuck it is that he was claiming he has as Kingpin, if you get a headshot from a foot away, you dead.
Yeah, but
Right.
they didn't introduce that character to kill him off in the same
No,
episode.
they did
off
not.
I
screen.
know.
So
I
we
was
all
like,
know.
wait a second.
We all
Hold
know.
on.
Yeah,
I was like,
an
that would have been
unnecessary
disappointing.
misdirection.
He ain't dead.
But
You know-
overall, my feeling, before I go back to you, Liz, I'm gonna come right back to you. My
No
feeling
worries.
was this episode was disjointed with the overall series direction and what it was building towards. It was building towards a serious ending, and then they all of a sudden got this idea, oh my gosh, it's Christmas. We need to wrap it up in a very nice, neat, and tidy family traditional bow. Clint goes home for Christmas. We find out his wife is a retired SHIELD agent, and everyone's
Agent 19.
happy. Right. So, which is fine, but I didn't think that the whole watch needed to be the big reveal for Agent 19. They could have
What a
done that. in the
MacGuffin.
beginning.
But then,
What
yeah,
a
what was
MacGuffin.
Tony doing
Come on
with that
now.
watch? What was Tony doing with that watch, and what significance did that watch have for him?
I have no idea.
It makes it's what is it?
Did they
It's a
say
MacGuffin.
it
Just
came?
another
Did they
No,
say it
his
came
what?
from his
No, his
Yes.
his vault. Came
Yes,
from
was
his
it
it
vault.
his vault?
Mhm.
So maybe, I mean, I guess we're supposed to believe, and you kind of glided over it, but Agent 19 is Mockingbird.
Yes.
And
Yeah, I
it
get
makes,
that.
It makes sense that she is Mockingbird from being with Clint. That's fine. And maybe, I guess you could say, maybe Tony was working on her truncheons and giving her some special Stark truncheons or something. I don't know.
But yeah, two
They've
things.
set that up. They've set that up since Ultron. They were
Yeah.
moving in that direction. That didn't bother me. I just felt that since it was supposed to be series defining, because they introduced it in like the first episode, it was supposed to be a big deal. It was supposed to be an item up for auction that everyone was looking for, good guys and bad guys. And to think like, okay, it's a watch. Got it.
They made it a big deal. Two things. One, they even ended the whole show in a horrible, stupid way. With I pretty much call it the final, the Fantastic Four ending, where what should my name be? Oh, I know. Then Hawkeye title screen. I'm like, dude, fuck off. just fuck off.
Dr.
And-
Liz, I said I was coming back to you.
I disagree with you guys.
Okay,
in the
hold on.
sense that
I'm gonna say this and I'll stop. I promise. And then
That's a lie.
Well, probably not, but forgive me, Santa. So like with the watch, it pretty much makes, I think, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. not canon or in a different universe or something, because Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
They had a
different
Mockingbird.
exactly, they had a Mockingbird. All right.
That's a good point. Okay, no, I was going to say that I did not think that they built this up to be all that serious. The first scene of episode 1 was there on Broadway, looking at this inaccurate Broadway show of the first
Oh,
you
man.
know. I
Rogers
mean,
the
I
musical.
I just did not, and then all the music and all the Christmas stuff in the background, and I didn't take this to be a serious one, like you know,
Well,
like Mo's shirt, Falcon and the Winter Soldier. That started off serious. It stayed
yes.
serious.
Mhm.
It kept serious. This one I did not anticipate it to be this super serious thing. Because they never made the tone was always the supposed to be lighthearted. In fact, to me, it always went back to Mo and Tawala's big argument over Die Hard. Is it a Christmas movie or
Yes, it
not?
is. Yes.
But Die Hard was both. It was serious in the sense of tonality. There
Look.
were real stakes. There was real danger. They were
Okay.
murking folks, and it was a Christmas movie. It
To
wasn't mutually
Liz's
exclusive.
point, she makes very good points. It started out silly, but then it got more and more serious, and each episode got better and better and better. The best example I can make it is you can't keep giving me smack and then take it away, and that's exactly what the season finale did.
Did you say smack?
He did.
That
You
was
know
the
what?
1970s of you.
Ryan, I'm staging a nerdervention for you because there are far too many injected heroin references between
Right.
that and everything else.
Always chasing the dragon.
That's a chasing the fucking dragon, bro. So I'm gonna say this: anytime you start and end a series with "I can do this all day," I'm like, this is not supposed to be as intense as like WandaVision. You weren't tackling as big a themes, and by setting it at Christmas and by introducing the whole thing of I've got to make it home to get to the kids and the wife, you definitely didn't set it up. It introduced stakes that I appreciated, but Hawkeye was always kind of he was a badass. He was really a badass in Avengers when he was under Loki's control. But because he didn't have any powers, and because Kate Bishop was a novice, and Kate Bishop was chasing him, and you had a dog with one eye, and you had larvae
That they never paid off.
that they never
No.
paid off, except that he's lucky. And I thought he had swallowed the watch, honestly. I thought we were waiting for Lucky to shit the watch out.
Yeah.
That was what I thought.
Kind of like Captain Marvel.
Kind of
Must
like
have been
Captain
one of those-
Marvel. I really thought that's what it was.
Must have been one of those extra scenes that they cut out.
Well, yeah,
So.
exactly. He passes the watch. But this watch. He put this watch
Right in the screen.
in his
Right
in
in
his
camera.
ass. And he kept it there.
Yes.
In his ass. So
He went through the whole war.
through the whole war. And then he brought it back.
Stop.
But I really didn't have the sword in the scabbard at the party was a big left turn. And then when the LARPers decided that they needed to get into their outfits because that was going to make them more efficient, I was like, if I saw a person in a crazy outfit, now if they had gotten into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. outfits or damage control outfits, or even they had changed into the police uniforms that at least two of them had, that I could understand, because
expected
certainly there
damage
weren't
control.
any other. There certainly weren't any other cops. You had 140 tracksuit mafias and nary a police car until Mom gets arrested. And for Mom to say, that's what you do on Christmas? That's what a hero does? They arrest their mom on Christmas? Bitch, you just organized the murder of people. What are you
It was so
talking
Well, to
about?
kill somebody
Yeah, but you know
and
what?
then
It was
hires a
so-
hitman.
That was funny though.
You know what? I think the issue again with Hawkeye, the only issue I have is that the ending could have been so much more this last episode, because it came out right after Spider-Man. And you already introduced Kingpin. We already saw Daredevil. Like, the potential for this could have been really integrating the Netflix universe really into the ending of Hawkeye. It would have made much more sense. It would have made sense for Daredevil to show up at least. So I think that it's just disappointing as much as it's more than anything.
Very disappointing.
That. Yeah.
I was waiting for Matt Murdock to make an appearance, only because we saw him in Spider-Man last week, and that would have been the perfect setup to introduce him into this MCU portion beginning this week.
Even a cameo or something.
And here's the thing: when we had Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you did not have a collaborative agreement between Whedon and Feige.
Right.
Now, since Feige's running everything, to Liz's point, it was a perfect opportunity. Since you are going to lean into the Netflix universe, at least in terms of Daredevil, and you know that Daredevil is going to appear on screen, or at least Matt Murdock, a week before Kingpin officially appears on screen, well, just go ahead and make that, just consummate that union all the way together. That's the only way I can describe it. That was an opportunity missed because there are no barriers at this point. So you might as well go ahead and do it. And Tuala's not here to defend himself, and I did this intentionally. He'll just have to get over it. He'll hear this on the podcast later on. But Tuala was trying to make the excuse, and I hear his point that when Kingpin showed up in a Hawaiian shirt, that is comic book accurate. I'm not disputing that. I'm just saying that in going back to tonality, it lessened the intensity or the importance of his on-screen presence, given that he's coming from the Netflix verse. That Kingpin, that depiction, and that's what we're expecting. Since they're using the same actor, I'm going to hold in the same regard, and I expect the same type of on-screen intensity. And when you put him in that Hawaiian shirt, I don't care if it's taken directly from the comic book storylines. It really took away a lot for me enjoying his presence on the screen, given how the episode began.
I totally agree.
Well, and you also have to factor in too that he sent a hit squad to kill Mama Bishop.
Yes.
And so you think he would be attired for a black tie event as a guest.
Okay.
And the Hawaiian shirt just didn't get it for me at all.
Let's just go even further. The last time we saw Kingpin, it was such a good episode. When he got taken down, that season was so good. And that season doesn't mirror that Kingpin and the way that he dressed and the way the formality of that Kingpin that we have seen him last on screen does not match this Kingpin. So it's just a little frustrating. Yeah, in that scene. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he matched in the beginning. Let me tell you something. When his eye started to twitch when Mama Bishop told him she was leaving, I was like, oh, I am here for it. That twitchy eye. He was so pissed. He was trying to hold his kingpinage in.
He was ready to murk her
he was ready to knock her head off her shoulders. And that's when I knew. I was like, see, this is going to what are the LARPers doing?
Right.
Why are they shooting out?
Is she trying to recruit the swordsman to be a LARPer at the end? I just couldn't. I liked Echo. I loved that Echo's moral compass allowed her to immediately realize that Clint was telling the truth. In the episode, I loved that Kingpin was wily enough to realize that when she said what she said, that she had turned on him and that she needed to go, and he assigned a person to kill her ass. That was so King Pimpish. That was exactly what he would do, and it was exactly what he would do when he combated Kate Bishop. The only thing that went left for me, and what I will say is, because we didn't see what happened on screen, just like he was able to swat away Kate's arrows and swat her away, I'm going with she tried to fire and he swatted her hand out of the way, and that's what we didn't see. He got shot in the shoulder, or he got completely missed, and he incapacitated her, probably by kicking her straight in the knee joint and knocking her damn leg off, because he could certainly do that.
I'm gonna go
scampered away.
I'm going to go out on a limb on this one, and I'm going to say Matt Murdock steps in.
See, it has to be, because that last fight with Matt Murdock,
but we don't know.
But that last fight with Matt and Kingpin was such a good. It's such a problem. Like when you introduce Kingpin, and then it's kind of limpy.
Well, he could be the big bad guy for Echo's series.
No, he's got to be, though. That's the whole point, because they've taken the wind out of the sails of her primary motivation. She wanted to kill the guy who killed her dad, and
everybody
she thought it was Clint.
Now.
Exactly. So I guess. Oh, that was my third oh shit moment when Mama Bishop drove a car into his ass.
That was gangster. I'll give her that.
I was just
And his
I
ass
can't
was
even-
horizontal.
I mean, he was laid out.
But
And
my
then
main
he got
issue.
blown up with all of the trick arrows. I mean, when he snapped those arrows in half, I was like,
Oh yeah.
this is Kingpin. This is
Yeah.
100. This is more Kingpin than Michael Clark Duncan's Kingpin
Oh,
in the
yes.
Daredevil movie, and more than even peak D'Onofrio Kingpin in the Daredevil series, because we
Yeah.
didn't get to see him be this
That
physical.
vicious.
We saw him kill people. The head in the car door
car,
scene
yeah.
is ufa fisha vavasa.
Yeah.
But he
We've seen
was
that on Disney.
moving. He snatched her ass up and tossed her like a rag doll, and then took those shots. And I mean, he was very, very
Vicious.
much. He was very balls on Kingpin, and it wasn't so much the jokes. I didn't have as big a problem with Yelena because, again, Yelena as a mind control Black Widow, one character. Yelena as a freed widow, another character. And she had this tenuous relationship with Val. It's clear that, she was probably killing bad people for Val. She wasn't killing regular people for Val. And then what she really wanted to know was what happened. That's what she wanted to know. It wasn't just that she was going to kill Clint. She wanted to know what happened because that was the last person to see her sister alive. And so when he answered it and she didn't believe him and she was kicking his ass and beating him with that damn truncheon and I mean, concussion. And then he did the whistle and it stopped her. And she said, well, wait. So what really did happen? And
But
ultimately,
did you catch that? I thought that was reminiscent of Captain America Winter Soldier.
it was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It was.
Mhm.
And to me, what she realized is that she wasn't sacrificing herself for Clint. She was sacrificing herself for Yelena and the rest of the universe that had been snapped away. Because she knew Yelena had been snapped away. And so that's who she was saving. And when Yelena realized that that's what Nat's sacrifice actually was, that's when she realized she couldn't kill Clint.
See, my main problem with this episode is it's very bipolar. Whenever it starts out like something really just badass, just like, oh my God, oh shit moments.
It was
Then they're throwing
badass.
jokes here and there. And what really bothered me when Yelena's fighting Clint at the end and she goes, well, tell me what happened. And then Clint goes, yeah, you probably wouldn't believe me because he's probably going to think that it would be too ridiculous to explain what happened. Well, the entire fucking episode is slapstick. Just tell the story, Clint. Just tell the goddamn story.
You guys keep saying that. The whole episode wasn't slapstick.
Okay, don't stop me with fucking minutia. Most of it was slapstick.
Most of it was.
Most of it was to call it slapstick.
He was a
You know
fucking
I'm right, too.
pirate, sword fighting guys in jumpsuits outside a building.
That was at the end.
With
Not making me
Larva.
like you.
When you open with a scene as strong as you open, and you follow that with her presenting evidence, the party was where it made its bad turn. But
Yeah.
let's be clear. Tracksuit Mafia was comic relief from episode 1.
It was.
It's not like that was a turn on a dime thing. Nobody in the Tracksuit Mafia, except the dude who tried to kill Echo, was a serious character. Not a
But-
single fucking
That's
one
Time
of
and
them.
place.
But the moment you introduce Yelena, it from a tonality standpoint, I'm going to go back to that. It changed the whole feel for the series. When Clint said they sent a Black Widow after me, that makes it serious. All fun and games are over. That's why he told Kate Bishop, take your ass home. It is now on a different level. This is beyond you. And I expect it to stay in that realm. And then whenever Yelena's on scene, or at least on camera, I expect it to hold that. Now, I don't mind the Tracksuit Mafia coming and, providing comedic relief. I don't mind even using a PIM arrow to turn the van into
I
a
love
Matchbox
that.
car.
Okay, that was a fate worse than death. That was fucked up.
Yeah,
That
really was.
owl!
I
It
love
just flew
that.
in.
Dude,
Oh
you
my!
just kill me, please. Just kill me. Don't.
Oh,
do
he's
that.
about to be killed, though.
No, I mean,
I like-
That owl's gonna eat the shit out of them.
So
Oh
what do
my
we do with him
God.
now? Oh.
Oh. We didn't get that far in the explanation.
And Clint is not going to have a problem being stuck in a tree, okay?
Well, I did love that she destroyed that tree. I
Rockefeller
thought that was
tree.
That was Fox
amazing.
News adjacent.
It's not how
loved
you.
it.
It's not how you start. It's how you
Hey,
finish, and it just
Wasn't it
didn't
also
finish
a little
well.
weird that it's Christmas time and there was like no snow whatsoever
In
Not
New York.
in New
necessarily.
York, and
'Cause I've-
everybody's wearing. People were. I'm not
Snow
saying
is
where they're
usually
dressed
in
for the-
January.
I'm not saying they're dressed for the cold, but people weren't dressed for like it was cold outside.
I mean,
Nobody was wearing an
winter has
overcoat.
officially started by the time Christmas comes around. And I used to live in New York. You can definitely have snow and flurries and shit around Christmas.
Yeah,
and
but
the
it's
and
not,
the
it's not
and
as
the
thick as January.
no, definitely not. But it was frozen enough that the ice skating rink was completely frozen.
Yeah, I mean,
And so
and the thing is, like, it yes, it gets cold, but it doesn't get. If you're, I don't know, I that didn't bother me because, like, if when you move to the East Coast from the West Coast, then yeah, you're always going to be, dressed to the tilt because it's super cold. But when you're used to being in that weather, a sweatshirt is cool if it's in its 50s or 60s, so that doesn't bother me.
mm.
But in January. Now we can talk because January is cold, 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 and it's snowing a lot.
Well, I think that was minor for me, but I didn't notice it. I just wanted an episode which, to be fair, started off so wonderfully to be able
Yes.
to keep that pace and intensity. But here's something else I've noticed, and I don't know if you guys noticed. Want to go around the horn on this one. Marvel seems with its Disney Plus series to have a formula as far as the episodic progression. And it seems the penultimate episode is the episode in which we're going to get everything we want or hope for, and we shouldn't wait for the final or really expect anything from the final. Some finals are better than others, but it seems like the episode right before the final, that's the one.
Yeah, the only two series that has been consistent is Loki and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. The others have had a
You mean
little bit of
from
a
beginning to
disappointing.
end, across.
Yeah, from beginning to end. And had the series finale actually did deliver on something. The others, it was a hit and miss when it comes to did you get everything? The answer is like no, you didn't get everything from Wanda. You
Nope.
didn't get everything from this.
Nope.
But Falcon and the Winter Soldier, absolutely, you received a lot more from it. It tied directly into Black Widow.
Yes, it
And
did.
you're looking
Yep.
forward to seeing something else coming from what happened. Loki, we haven't gotten the big payoff yet, but
Yep.
you definitely see how it's building towards it.
And then
And
they
we
want
got
to give a
more than
season
what
2
you
of Loki.
expected. Right? Then you got more from Loki than what you expected to get.
Oh, you mean because of Kang?
Yeah.
Yeah,
No one expected
my
to see it.
expectation for Loki was high, and it did not deliver. That's
Yeah,
still at the bottom of my list.
I would say that we got very keyed up about seeing Kingpin in his white suit at the end of episode 5. But I would say every moment of Kingpin, except for the fake out on his death, was better than what we have ever seen before of Kingpin, which elevated this episode above episode 5 for me. Now, I really was thinking that they would do the brave thing and kill Clint. I really did think they were going to do it because of Yelena and Echo. But they kind of well, I'm just saying. I mean, Hans Gruber died at Christmas. Shit.
Hello.
So,
Right.
you can die at Christmas. And in Lethal Weapon, that girl jumped off the damn building because she was tweaking. So you can have people die.
Smack.
It wasn't smack. It was like probably crystal or some bad coke.
Crystal smack, yeah.
But the point is that you definitely can do things. But to me, although we got some great stuff in terms of Kingpin, we didn't get what I was hoping for in terms of resolution, and you left it open. Whereas Falcon and the Winter Soldier set up Power Broker, and so you saw, okay, we're going to be hearing from Power Broker, and then WandaVision left you with, to me, more questions than answers, except that we got fully realized Wanda as a Nexus being, and that ties directly into Multiverse of Madness. So that is kind of paying off. I have been generally happy with what we have gotten through most of the series. So this is not one that ended the way I wanted. And again, LARPers, way too much love. Jack Duquesne, way too much of a misdirection.
Right.
But super duper amazing Kingpin. Kate Bishop proved her charisma.
Yes.
The actor is great. And obviously Clint basically officially, in the moment that Ryan hated, handed the mantle over to her. He's not going to be Hawkeye anymore. He's not going to be Ronin anymore. He's going to be Mockingbird's husband and dad to those 3 kids who thankfully we didn't need to see again because they were all way too old. And that's it. And it's going to be Kate, another super badass,
I like it.
badass chick who is entering the MCU. It's barely any dude heroes left. Shit.
Yeah, that's true. Well,
Thor in space and shit. And Hulk
speaking of dude heroes, we got to give some time to a movie which dropped today.
And
when I say dropped, I'm glad it dropped on the HBO Max platform.
Nostalgia.
Because there's no way in the world I would have gone to have seen this.
I
would have been
did.
very mad if I did see Matrix Resurrections in the theater for $20. I saw Spider-Man Far From Home, No Way Home for the second time, and I paid $21 for a ticket, and I paid for 3 tickets, 2 tickets for one for my nephew and his girlfriend. So that was a movie I felt confident about paying money for, and not feeling bad about paying a full AMC movie ticket price.
That is.
But if I paid that same money for this Matrix Resurrections, I would have been pissed off to the highest of festivity. And I'm just going to run it down real quick, and I'm going to throw it to all of you. It was nice to be able to see Carrie Ann Moss and Keanu Reeves and the Merovingian and some other cameos. It was nice to see Jada Pinkett Smith as Niobe. It was nice that Captain Roland had a black granddaughter. All that was fine as far as fan servicing. As far as the story which was told, it was just underwhelming for me, and it seemed like it was a TV show companion piece. Like they took a movie and decided to turn it into a TV show like Minority Report, and there were remnants of the movie, but it didn't have the same magic, didn't have the same feel. The actors they used, they did not have the on-screen gravitas of a Lawrence Fishburne or Hugo Weaving or anyone like that. And so it wasn't horrible. I didn't dislike it. It was fine for HBO Max, which was part of my subscription. Thank you very much. I'm done. I'm going home.
I thought it was okay, but not $20 okay. So if I would have paid $20 in the theater, I've been pissed off. Now, this is something you could probably put on like Netflix or something like that. It had a lot of nostalgia, which I love. And I really think lately we've been seeing movies in Hollywood saying, you know what? We should just make nostalgia movies, which I'm all for if you're not going to ruin my goddamn childhood. So movie was okay. The action was great. Some of the slower. Some of the
they old.
They are old. Some scenes I'm like, okay, I get it, man. You're trying to like call back to this one scene. You can write your own lines, but other than that, it's just okay. It's okay.
The use of flashbacks was a bit much for me, but
yes, that too.
It was a lot.
I'll say this: I skipped my 11:30 a.m. show at AMC because it was one of my Stubbs list choices. I skipped over it to watch it at home because I had already watched it, and so I just decided I just didn't need to experience it on a big screen. And so, to me, I liked the meta elements of it. I liked that they decided to put him back in the Matrix as the author of a video game called The Matrix.
That was funny.
I thought that was cool. I liked that they saddled him with a bunch of corporate D-bags who were, every day was a recycling of them saying the same pablum, just changing a few words in it. I liked that they had fake Jonah Hill in there to kind of be a person to hold him down. I liked that the psychiatrist character played by Doogie Howser, Neil Patrick Harris, was in there. But to make him the big bad of the movie was not. And listen, I'm not a person who is a fan of the Architect. I thought the Architect was way overblown, and you are the one.
I do like the blue glasses because it kind of like goes back to the blue.
The Architect is one of my favorites.
And so that whole sequence was very long for me. Was that in Reloaded or was that in Revolutions.
There's only been one good Matrix movie, so yeah.
Yeah, there
Maybe,
has only been one good Matrix movie. Although the Animatrix had some nice things.
Okay.
But to me, once we get to the part where, and I liked how they dealt with the Yahya Abdul Mateen thing and him being Morpheus, but not Morpheus because he's a program who's to emulate Morpheus. And I thought that was a fine way of kind of dealing with that.
Mhm.
I liked the fact that Carrie-Anne Moss was, Tiffany in the Matrix, and that they had her in the Matrix, and that he finally got to meet her. One thing that wasn't resolved for me is that the Colleen Wing girl, that's who she is, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So when Colleen Wing shows him what he looks like to everybody else, I was like, wait a minute. So was Trinity seeing him as Keanu or as Neo from the Matrix video game, which she admitted to playing, or was she seeing him as Old Man? Because if
She was
she's
seeing
seeing
as Old Man.
and see, that to me, when they made that reveal, it made less sense to me.
There you go.
It should have been, maybe she is the only one who can see through the Matrix artifact of changing his thing, so that she sees him as he sees her. And they did, and because that's all we see on screen, we don't even know that there is a difference until Colleen Wing or Bugs.
Yeah.
Which, oh my God, did they lean into the Warner Brothers bullshit in this
Yes,
goddamn
they
All right,
did.
man.
Oh,
Get your
Warner
money.
Brothers wants us to do a sequel to
Right.
The Matrix.
It was so
The
meta.
IP.
It was
Okay.
so meta.
See, like my other issue, actually, it's probably my last issue. My biggest issue is with Colleen Wing because I was waiting for Finn Jones.
Yeah, Finn Jones was one of the Matrix zombies that jumped out of a window and splattered on the ground.
Out of the window.
It was World War Z.
It
I've
was,
seen that before.
and that's what we get out of zombies in the Matrix. And here's the other thing: was anybody confused as to how many of those people were actual energy providing copper tops versus just bots? They kept calling them bots, but when the first guy who jumped out of the window,
Oh, that was so funny.
he seemed like he was a person who got activated.
Yeah.
But his wife didn't get activated. So was the wife just living with a bot the whole time? Because they were killing
Yes.
thousands of those jumpers. And so every time you kill a jumper, if they're keyed into the Matrix, you're killing a battery supply. So I just
It wasn't clear.
I mean,
But that's kind of how the last Matrix 3 was, when they were all just expendable. And Mr. Smith gave this long speech about them. I
very
actually
long
did
speech.
not. I preferred to watch. I did watch it on
Big screen.
on the app, and then I thought, but when I watched it on the big screen, there were a lot of things that clearly I don't focus well on watching it just at the house. So it did make me focus more on big screen, and I actually didn't dislike it. Maybe because I got a matinee. But
Oh, damn.
but I do consider it where this was so much for a person who really liked Matrix 1 through 3. And this was a payoff for people who absolutely watched it, knew it through and through, liked it. And I was listening to some people walking out of the theater, and they're like, yeah, I didn't really watch, I didn't really know all the Matrix. I watched one, and I was like, dude.
yeah.
So
you shouldn't
then
be there.
You had to
it's
watch all of them.
confusing because even for me, I was like, okay, so let me try to follow through this, because they didn't take any time to explain anything. They were just like, you should already know what this coding is, what this looks like. And then someone on Twitter made a comment like, there's some people who absolutely don't even know what that used to look like coding.
It was a long movie, 2.5 hours too.
It was long.
So that
It was
was like-
so long. And
Yeah.
I will say this. I did enjoy watching Trinity kick the shit out of Doogie Howser at
Of
the
course.
end and knock his digital jaw off. And I did like her flying into the apartment. I wasn't as big a fan of both of them flying out across the city because it was, again, by that time in the movie, we had seen so many obvious callbacks to the Magic the Original. And let me
Right.
just say, the super slow-mo toss in as a replacement for bullet time, epic fail, bro. Nobody wanted to see Doogie Howser walking around architecting for a 10-minute stretch while everybody else was frozen on screen. That was not a cool effect.
Yeah.
It
No,
was
it
not
wasn't.
special.
My
And-
favorite callback was the little girl. I was like,
Seti.
That was good. That was
my
good.
Yeah, that was-
God!
yeah.
And she looked like the actress.
She did look like her. Yeah, she did.
But-
and so that was cool. That was fine. I just let me just say this. When Neil Patrick Harris is talking about how much money they spent to resurrect him. So I'm like, isn't the only currency power? Like the electrical power? Like, what did the machine, like, I could understand how many resources we had to use, or how much energy we had to spend to get you repaired, and how many machines it took energy from. But just to say how much money we spent, it took years. And I'm thinking, all you care about is money to power you guys. So what is the talk of finance and commerce? I don't.
Hey, Tom, what also bothered me was I didn't buy whoever this actor was as Smith. And it really made me miss Hugo Weaving in a big way.
Yeah.
That's
The-
It's
true.
he didn't
annoying,
have
if
this-
anything.
Yeah, he didn't have the screen presence. He didn't have the imposing nature, or
That's
like
true.
this impending doom
Mm.
that was always following Neo. And I caught the subtleties where he didn't call him Mr. Anderson, he called him Thomas. Now I got all that, okay? But it just didn't carry the weight. He just seemed like he could have been just another agent, any old agent. He wasn't special in that nature. And if they had cast someone other than Neil Patrick Harris as the big bad, maybe I would have liked it more. I wanted to believe that he was facing a greater foe, not told he was a greater foe, or he was smarter than the architect, or he's a better programmer or whatever, but someone who was actually more physically imposing. And we didn't get that. And that just seemed like, okay, TV show.
Pretty
But
much.
you know what bothers me the most? But you know what? The thing that I thought was brave. I'm not saying that you should continue to keep doing this. People who want to do this remakes, is that this movie is so old. I'm not, no shade, but it's so old, and it was insanely popular at the time. And for it to be so intertwined to the old Matrix, it was like, wow. It's not for a wider appeal. And I was kind of stunned that they would make a movie on the big screen that is so in tune to the older versions, that there's a whole generation of people who are grown who has never seen the Matrix.
Let me jump in there. I felt as if I was watching Blade Runner 2049 again. It was for the fans and fans only. And actually, if you look at the old Matrix movies, they held up a lot better than I think this movie will.
Mhm.
The original Matrix movie was groundbreaking in its cinematography, the
Yes.
type of special effects that it used. There was nothing groundbreaking about this movie. It was nice to have that continuation of the storyline, but as far as a movie making piece, a visual cinematic piece, it wasn't special to me at all. And part of what made the Matrix special was not only the special effects, but also the philosophy and the story that it told. It was groundbreaking in a way it made people think about questioning reality in a way that we hadn't really conceived of before, just because of a movie. This didn't do any of that for me. This was just a continuation of the stories. What are the characters up to now, 25 later, or actually 60 years
60
later?
years,
In terms
yeah,
of
60
storyline,
years.
you know.
Well, to the point of Ryan's aborted childhood by way of the new trilogy of Star Wars films.
Yes,
This
please.
was very much like Force Awakens. It was, let's have new characters doing the same shit from A New Hope.
Yeah.
And they did, it was like, can you still fly? And he does the pose.
That was funny.
That's not going to happen. And it's like,
That
I
felt
will.
flat.
and then the thing that really got me about this that I thought was super lazy, and you made a point about the production quality and how it looked. When you think back around the first Matrix, because the first Matrix actually was done for relatively inexpensively compared to the technology that they used. And they shot it in Australia, and they were substituting a city that was supposed to be Chicago because they named streets after Chicago streets, but it wasn't really Chicago. And even in the second movie, when they did the fight on the freeway, they had those big walls so that you couldn't really see what the fuck was going on because they didn't have the money to shoot it in a particular place. So I didn't mind that it looked kind of spare since so much of it takes place in the Matrix, but this movie didn't give us the innovation. It didn't give us the, oh, wow. And even when they went to recreate the fight in the little dojo in the middle of the lake, it was a cool shot. And they swoop in, but it's not Larry Fishburne. And Abdul Mateen II is a great
Doesn't
actor.
have the same screen presence.
But he didn't have the same screen presence, and his kung fu moves didn't look as badass. And Lawrence Fishburne was probably 20 years older than this dude is now when he did that scene back then, and at least 20 pounds heavier.
Yeah.
But he looked like he was really doing the kung fu. Yaya looked like he was doing choreography.
It's very ironic that in the very same movie, they're talking about how can we make the new Matrix. It's got to be better. It's got to be more iconic.
Yeah.
And then the movie, and then the actual movie is nowhere near what they were talking about in the movie.
What's so fascinating, though, I will say, because it did leave me thinking. It may not have been much thinking, but it did leave me thinking because I thought about, like, if somebody were to have come back to reality, saying that they lived in the Matrix, in this place where I'm doing all this stuff, right? They would put them on drugs. Like, they absolutely would be like, you are insane. And it'd be easy to convince somebody that you're insane because, I mean, that doesn't sound like a legit thing. So I was like, that's I can deal with that. I can deal with putting him on drugs.
I bought that, and I
completely
agree
bought
with
that.
It just it didn't have the innovation in storytelling that the
exactly.
original had. And if you go back and watch, and I want people watching and listening right now to go back and watch the original Matrix, something that I'm going to be more attuned to that other people may not would be the soundtrack and score. The soundtrack and score for the original Matrix was huge. It was another character in the movie. It was driving force in the movie. It was very thin and bare bones. It wasn't like I had to look. Was this Hans Zimmer? Was it Luke Göransson? Or was it John Woods? It was nothing like that. It was very small and low budget sounding, which
and
says
they recycled a lot of the motif from the first movie anyway, just because they were trying to keep you grounded in the universe of the first movie. And
but by the middle of the movie, I was like, okay, so why are we doing all this?
Yes. Why are we here?
And then I was like, do not tell me that it's just because you want to be with, be together. Like, do not tell me that we're doing all this just to hook up.
Liz, you made a great point because before it was about saving Zion, ending the world, and now we're down to my boo thing. That's
well, and Io is apparently a much larger and better city than Zion ever was. So if they are living peaceably, I just didn't grok this. And when all of a sudden he's got the super telekinesis, which again, he showed us he could stop bullets in the very first one. I don't know why it's so innovative that, he can, make shields that turn him into the invisible woman.
Lazy writing. That's basically what it is.
And the zombies just,
yes,
them people should have been dead.
Okay, here's the thing.
Because you had 1,000 zombies swarming cars. We have never seen a zombie show where that many zombies were out in the street in full rage mode and didn't just kill everybody.
Killed nobody.
All I will say is this. Okay, so the only part in this entire movie that I laughed out loud, when the man and his woman are in bed on the third or rubber floor, 15th floor, whatever, just relaxing, and he changes and he just leaps out the window like it's fucking nothing, like he's Superman. I laughed my ass off.
And then he turned himself into a missile by putting his arms behind him.
I was like, y'all stupid. I couldn't stop.
But we didn't even get to the real reason why they needed to be together until the last 30 minutes of the movie?
Love. Just like the original Matrix.
No, it was supposed to be because if they don't come together, then the whole Matrix will be, then the whole city will no longer exist. He was going to destroy the city. I was like, you don't tell us that in the last 30 minutes of this 2.5 hour movie?
Lazy writing.
Well, and
Not
the other
innovative.
thing was, did anybody notice that when Doogie was telling him about how long it took them to get them both together, that in the physical world, when they touched, it caused a manifestation in the physical world. When they touched hands coming out of the pods as they were, being reconstructed or whatever, it created an electrical surge that killed the squid that was next to him. So they have superpowers in the real world, both of them now. Because that's, to me, what this whole thing was about. This whole thing, ultimately, at the very last scene, where they jump off the building together and he actually can't fly and she can fly. I'm surprised Ryan hasn't equated this to the Princess Leia moment of when she pulls herself back into the ship.
It
It seemed like the whole movie was
They're not
just
in outer
about
space,
giving
Tom.
Trinity powers.
They're not in outer space, Tom.
So what?
They're not, okay, it makes a lot of sense.
No, it
I'm
don't
saying
make
the
any
whole
sense.
thing
Trinity,
was giving Trinity powers. That was
Exactly.
putting Trinity on the same level playing field as Neo, because they both had powers at the end of the movie, and that's what they were really saying.
Well,
That Trinity
I have a question.
always was important.
this was
and
just
had
about
powers.
women. This
Yeah,
was just about
It
women.
was.
It was,
And it
but
was-
Because Lana
hey.
is a woman now.
But what was, no pun intended again, what was the end game here? Okay,
Nothing.
they unplugged Trinity, but for the purpose of just satisfying Neo's physical needs, it wasn't going to help Io in any way. It wasn't going to bring down the machine world in any way. The analyst was still going to do his thing. As a matter of fact, Smith is still out there doing his thing. Nothing has changed.
Well, they're gonna rebuild the Matrix. So let me tell you
No, it's
this
going to
right
be
now, Warner
rainbows.
Brothers.
It's going to be
Rainbows.
rainbows.
Warner Brothers. Let me tell you now. Do not make a sequel.
They're going to make a
Do
sequel.
not make a
They
series.
are.
They
They got
are.
an
Do
HBO
not
Max
make a
platform.
cartoon.
They
Don't
are.
make a nothing. We are
It's
done.
called IP.
They are.
No, they could do a
Done.
Peacekeeper style series out of the Matrix. They could, because there are people. I would watch bugs. I don't want to watch zombies with bugs, but
They're
I
already
would
making
watch,
video games. I played
Right.
it last night.
Right.
I would watch a
video game
series
makes
set
sense
in
to
the
me.
Matrix of people doing stuff if they had a mission, if there was a goal that we were being told, if it was the humans in Io are secretly trying to work to free everybody.
And now
Okay.
the machines are on the machines.
Some of the machines.
Some of the
Some of them
machines.
are.
I was like, this
Integration.
although this part
Maybe
of one.
integration.
I'm just going to assume that when they were resurrecting Neo, that they used some of Neo to give Tiffany whatever some of her powers. I mean, they didn't really explain anything.
They
But,
didn't explain why they needed Neo in the first place, why they were looking for him.
but
Why?
To accomplish what? To do what?
because
He's
they're fans,
inspiration.
apparently they're fans.
Inspiration
super
and
fans.
fanship.
to make the fourth movie.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Hey,
now that
love
part
conquers
is,
all.
Actually, it's going to
everybody.
be
Love-
super easy, barely an inconvenience.
Mm.
That
All right, before we get out of here, I guess Tuala's not going to be able to join us.
at all.
Shame.
Damn, Twala.
So sad, so sad.
That's-
I was
that's
eagerly
very sad.
awaiting to hear his side of
I know,
Hawkeye.
'cause he
Not
was
at all.
gone.
But let's start with you, Anthony, from Two Cubicles Down. What are you watching this week, other than what we've
Expanse.
been watching?
We got The Expanse coming out Friday again.
Yes, sir.
So we
Yes,
got that.
sir.
Watched episode 2 was kind of slow.
It was.
But you know what? It served its purpose. And so they found the ship. So we got The Expanse on Friday. Looking forward to that one.
Ryan, what you watching?
The Expanse. I'm on season 2. I think episode 6. I believe
Oh,
it's
you're
picking
making
up. I
way.
like it.
Mhm.
I love Miller. That's my favorite character right now. And since we're talking about the Matrix, I played the Matrix demo that was so good that I thought I was actually watching a movie. And I was standing still. I'm like, why is the movie moving? I'm like, oh, I can play now. That's how realistic it looked. Amazing.
Okay.
Dr. Liz.
Swan Song. Dun, 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 Apple TV.
How did I know?
Yeah,
How did
Mahershala.
I know?
Because it's Mahershala.
And he's nominated. And the Ricard being
He's a good
Ricardo,
actor.
being
Yes.
the Ricardos or
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, with
came out,
Javier Bardem.
came
Yes,
out.
as
I still have a problem with. Desi is a much more attractive person. I think they should have had a much better attractive guy.
That's the problem when we do these pieces with very recognizable people. It's
Actors,
hard
yeah.
to let it go. You know what Lucille Ball looks like. You know what she sounds like. You know what Desi Arnaz looked and sounded like. Javier Bardem, with all due respect, doesn't have the coolness of a Desi Arnaz. He just doesn't. You know,
no.
great
It was
actor.
good though. It was good, but it was like you should have got a better Desi.
That's kind of important in that.
Like
particular
actually,
story.
I don't know if it would have worked, but I would have wanted someone like an Antonio Banderas, at least with that type of swag, to do the role. I don't know if he could have done it, and I don't know if Spanish speaking people would have accepted him in the way they've been pushing back against Javier Bardem. But I would have wanted someone who could at least sell to me that he's a singer and dancer and performer, and would act more like Desi Arnaz did.
Right.
Yeah.
Tom, what you looking at?
I am also watching The Expanse. I binged like
Episode
4
2.
episodes. No.
Oh, so you got
Um,
to the Donager. Okay.
Yeah, so and I was very surprised. I now understand what Remember the Can't is about. I did not see that coming. Honestly. I mean, I figured that he was making a fuck up, but I didn't realize it was gonna be like that. I'm also watching Genlock season 2, which is the Michael B. Jordan EP kind of anime mecha thing, and I'm also watching Young Justice season 4.
Yes. I'm on Young Justice season 3.
Oh,
I just checked out Unforgivable on Netflix with Sandra
So
Bullock
good.
and Viola Davis. That was really, really good.
okay.
It's a hard story to watch. I don't want to
Mm.
give it away because there's some twists in it, and it's going to make you feel some things. Hopefully, that was good. And obviously, watching The Expanse, and life is good with the exception of Hawkeye season finale.
Yes.
So, last call for Tuala. Going once.
He said he's not. He said he's 10 minutes away.
Oh.
Oh,
We
that's
ain't
too
gonna
bad.
be here 10 minutes.
We ain't gonna be here 10 more seconds.
Sorry, Twala.
Sorry for ya.
Right. Too bad, so sad. So, Anthony, take us out.
Good news, everybody.
Ryan McBain.
I'm nasty.
Dr. Liz.
I've had dreams that weren't just dreams.
You know what? I will let Tom take us out for good. So I will say multipass. And Tom,
Where is my kingpin suit?
somehow I knew that was coming, and it was so appropriate. And that's where we have to end it, because I'm not going to say, no way am I going to say Tuala's tagline. So thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. This is Nerdorama.